All right, guys, so we are here in Vegas and we wanted to come and give you our true full review on JetBlue Mint. So let's start off, Derrick. We've got some notes that we're going to follow because we want to make sure that we give you all the deets, right? We got to give you all the details. And yes, I'm in my bonnet. Don't worry. This is called relaxation at the Cosmopolitan, which we'll talk about next.
So we're going to rate this on things like, first of all, was it worth it, right? The check-in process, seat comfort, food and drinks and all of that stuff. Because as most of you all know, if you've ever flown first class, you usually get a bigger seat, right? And people always talk about the unlimited drinks. The JetBlue Mint is something a little bit different. Yeah. So let's just jump right into it.
Let's go.
The first thing I want to talk about was the boarding process. Because Shay and I are TSA approved, that was really easy, right? So that literally took less than 3 minutes compared to the other side where you can still physically see the other people that are not TSA approved. That line was really long, right?
But let's go back. Let's go back. So the check-in process, completely different, different line. So it's a Mosaic and JetBlue Mint check-in, and it was only like 2 of us or 3 of us in that line.
I was about to say again, that line was extremely short because if you're
very
not
short. Yeah.
Mint or Mosaic, you can't even get in that line. And so
that was quick.
In fact, the lady that was checking us in was really
adamant,
upset with people that kept jumping in that line because it breaks up her flow. And
when it comes to, so there were people that were in like standard.
She was really nice to us.
She was sweet, but people that were not in the preferred Mosaic.
They saw a short line and thought that was an easy way to get through. She was like, no, ma'am. No, sir.
You are not Mosaic. You are not, traveling JetBlue Mint. But once we got to her, she was like, oh, you are going to love the JetBlue Mint experience. She was so personable. I wish I would have gotten her name because she was phenomenal at her check-in. The other thing I want to talk about, too, is the baggage. Checking in baggage for JetBlue Mint is completely different. You get 2, the Mint class gets 2 carry-on bags. My bag we thought was overweight because I was like 50 pounds, 0.9 ounces. And she was like, no, you get 70 pounds and 2 check-in bags. And I was like, 2?
Yeah. Oh.
I was like, no, leave me at 50 pounds so that way I don't overdo it because I would have overpacked even more had I known that.
And we usually overpack anyway.
Bruh.
Yeah, so that was a blessing. So if you travel JetBlue Mint, and this is domestic, remember. So this wasn't international, this was coast to coast. So we came from, well, not really coast to coast, but close to coast. We came from Orlando, Florida to Las Vegas. And we had the ability to both check 2 bags at 70 pounds per bag. So that was cool too. So now you already talked about TSA pre-check. If you are not TSA pre-checked, you need to do it. It's worth it. The lines, like we carry a lot of equipment. I have cameras, I have gimbals, I have my laptop, iPad, things like that. So whenever I travel, my carry-on bag is usually full with tech. So not having to take all of that stuff out of my carry-on bag and not having to take off my shoes and put my shoes back on and put everything back in my carry-on bag saved us a ton of time.
Yeah.
A ton of time. So talk about the experience for boarding.
So the boarding process was actually, again, really smooth. And I'm not on customer service yet, but I got to speak on it. Everybody was so nice to us.
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
I think to everybody, though, in general.
It just seems like that was different, too. But the onboarding was very smooth. So I'm going to just rate that whole part like 10 out of 10, right? So we're rating things from 1 to 10, right? 1 meaning it's worse. 10 meaning the absolute best. And guys, here's the disclaimer. I've always flown regular class. This is my first time flying first class, right? So I've never experienced first class, business class. And again, JetBlue Mint, in my opinion, again, is on another level. We'll get there. But out of 1 out of 10, that TSA and the smoothness of check-in and being in a different line from other people.
10.
Okay, so
that's that. So let's go to our next topic. because we want you to be fully engulfed in the JetBlue Mint experience as we were. So we hope we're doing you a great service with this information. So the next thing is the boarding process. We talked about that. We were, of course, Zone 1. So we got to board right after those with disabilities, and that had special needs. So that was pretty cool. Because JetBlue Mint cabin isn't huge, it's only 5 rows, right? 5 rows, that's all you get. So it was like maybe what, 5, 10, it was probably like 15 of us maybe? I can't do the math right now, it's too early, but it's not many people.
A good part is during this part, we can show that diaphragm,
the diagram
of it. So let's jump over the seat comfort and cleanliness, right? Obviously, I've sat in row 24, 54, 68, all of that. I gotta rate that probably at a, I'll say 8.5, 9.
Yeah,
Everything
I'm with
was
you.
cool, right? It was clean. The seats were super comfortable. And again, this was a domestic flight, so to be able to have the lie flat was pretty cool. I've only seen that with people that were flying international on like a 12-hour flight. Guys, this was only a 4.5-hour flight from Orlando to Vegas. And for us to get seats that laid all the way back, we got out what I'll call a kit that had a blanket and a pillow in it.
Correct.
We absolutely slept good.
So hold there. So the one caveat, and I think I've seen this on other videos, I am going to specify. The one thing that I would take away from the Mint seats is I wish they had like the car detailing specialist that came in and just dusted out the little nooks and crannies. That is the only thing. But we know, movement and dust and all of that stuff does happen. But other than that, like the remotes weren't dirty, but like the little corners and of crevices of like the remote cabin that holds the remote control so that you're not reaching over and trying to press the touch screen. That was a little interesting. But outside of that,
now if we want to nitpick a little bit, the TV screens could have been a little bit cleaner. Like prime example, the gentleman that was sitting next to me, because of like my angle, like I could see like
the fingerprints.
Somebody also like look like they tried to wipe it, but all just
that's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
unclean it. Clean it. That's clean. It's hard to clean. I'm gonna clean it.
It looked like
that was terrible. So again, that's why
These
that didn't get as high as
it didn't get a 10, but we will keep it in that 8-ish. But because the comfort, being able to rest, having a pillow and a blanket, because it was cold. Like we both had on sweats. I had on sweatpants and a sweat top. Derrick had on a whole sweatsuit.
Yeah.
But by time,
use my blanket.
Yeah. And he's normally not the one. Like I normally travel with a blanket. So Derrick using a blanket was telling you that it was cold on the plane, but it was comfortable. They made us very comfortable. So let's go to the next thing.
So the next thing I want to jump to is the food. The food on this plane again was restaurant style. That was shocking. I've heard of people that have flown first class domestically, and you just get drinks, right? You don't get like fed. And even if you did, again, I'll use the word, the culinary experience on this plane and the service in which they brought it. Like the silverware was so heavy and shiny.
Derrick, it wasn't even spotty. It was so everything was glass. So I loved. So hold on. Before we go to the food, I want to talk about the flight attendants. 10 out of 10 for Heather and Amber. Heather and Amber, JetBlue Mint, if you see this, we appreciate you. We thank you. What an experience. You were kind. You were attentive. You remember things that I forgot.
They were so good.
Yeah.
It made Shay switch subjects.
That's slightly off topic.
We were talking about something else, and we were going to get to the flight attendants, and Shay jumped back
I did,
to it.
but it was just that
I'm
good.
a second that. They gave us handwritten notes.
At the end, and you'll see that.
That stuff, again, just small, minor details, especially when you pay the kind of money that we did. And we're also going to talk about that. Because a lot of times when I'm watching a YouTube channel and people talk about, well, they did this and did, I'm like, well, what did it cost? In fact, comment below right now if you're one of those people that you want to know, like, what does this cost you guys? We're going to put all of that on screen. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. But those handwritten notes, the attention to detail, as soon as your cup got just halfway, they were asking, did you want a refill of whatever you were drinking? Yeah. So things like that were really
it was amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that was amazing.
So again,
you don't get that in C-54.
You don't.
Can I grab one of your clinics? Oh. I think it's just allergy. Oh, man. No.
You don't. Food, like Derrick said, was like the quality, the flavors, the aesthetic, like the attention to detail. Like your plate didn't come with just food dropped in a plate. It was very aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
And again, being on a plane, to me, again, that was crazy to me. And again, domestically, like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have flown. I'm a rookie to this, guys.
And Derrick's gonna keep saying this because he's blown by the I think we're both kind of really blown by the fact that this was a domestic flight. Yeah. You see things like this on Emirates, Qatar. You see all of them other airlines that are flying internationally for long hauls that have this experience. But to have this experience domestically, JetBlue, y'all knocked this out of the park. And I'm a Delta girl. So just so you know, like I am a Delta diehard, okay?
We've done JetBlue.
I love JetBlue. Don't get me wrong.
We heard about that JetBlue Mint.
JetBlue has always been my number two because
I give JetBlue again for this flight for this time. This was a 10 out of 10.
We'll do it again.
Oh, another thing I want to compliment is the pilot. A lot of times when you fly, you experience turbulence. I've been on planes where the pilot says nothing. I like the reassurance. Put a comment below if you like reassurance when you're flying somewhere that they're just communicating, say, hey, we're going through a little turbulence. It's going to be about 45 minutes. Yeah. Once we get out of that, we're going to be smooth sailing. I love communication. Shay, like, how do you feel about the way he communicated?
Very well. Like, I think, and we've had that experience when we fly to Bermuda on Delta. I think we've had some crappy, like the last time we came to Vegas, count me out. It was American Airlines.
And they didn't say anything.
It was terrible.
The plane was dropping out of the sky.
It was terrible.
It was just bad turbulence, but there was no communication, so everybody's panicking.
The whole plane started screaming. And the pilot, not once came on and said anything. And this was American Airlines 10 years ago. We thought we were going to see our maker in the Grand Canyon. But no, this time was beautiful.
In first class, because of the communication and because of the mint condition, we'll talk about that later, it made everything a little bit smoother.
All right, so for our overall experience on JetBlue Mint is a 9.5 out of 10. That's mine. What you think?
9.5 out of 10. I agree.
Yeah. So we didn't ding you much on cleanliness, JetBlue, just so you know. You made up for it in so many other ways.
8.5, but
then
the other scores
Yeah.
lifted it and what brought it to a 9.5. So the overall JetBlue Mint experience
It's an experience.
9.5. 9.5.
I will say this as we close. Getting ready to close, y'all.
We gotta go.
I will say this. The overall everything was amazing. So before takeoff, of course, you got your pre-flight drink, which we had mimosas. Once we got in the air and leveled out, because it was a little rock and rolly, but because of the pre-flight drink, we were A-okay. JetBlue is not stingy with their alcohol, just so you know. So if you're not like me, I'm a lightweight. I don't partake too often. That rocking was very comforting, actually. The turbulence was a lot comforting. I was like, ooh, yeah, I could go to sleep like this. And then for before your meal, after they took your order, they gave you a snack, and it came with, the drinks were just ongoing. So it was cauliflower chips. If y'all let me know, JetBlue, where y'all get those from, because I would actually order some and have at my house, because they were amazing. And then you had your meal, and of course, the drinks and snacks kept going. And we went to sleep. But anyway, before landing, what I thought was beautiful was the note that was handwritten by our flight attendants. And the one that I had, which I would show, was so awesome, because I had a conversation with my flight attendant when I was trying to decide my meal. And she remembered and wrote and reminded, and it's a reminder to me to try the pasta on the way back. So I'm going to try the pasta on the way back, and I'll let you know. But that's our review of JetBlue Mint. You definitely need to do it. And Derrick, did you want to tell them pricing?
Pricing below.
We'll put the pricing below. Have a good one, guys.